The Nodewood command line tool has a variety of capabilities designed to get your next project started much faster. One of these capabilities is the ability to template files and features directly into your application. Now, what is a feature in the context of Nodewood? Well, it's a collection of related files and code. Nothing more, nothing less. Exactly how related a new file needs to be included in a feature, or how unrelated it should be in order to be broken out into a new feature, is entirely up to you. I recommend you start with one feature that contains the core of your project, and from there, when you write code or a new file that is sufficiently different, you can break that out into a new feature as you decide. This prevents a common situation with long-running projects where you end up with, say, a controllers folder that has just dozens of files in it, and you have to scan and scroll through it to try to find the file you want to work on. Now, that doesn't seem like a whole big problem, but when you have to do that many times in a day for many different folders, it can really break your concentration. So now let's take a quick look at what it's like to create a new feature in Nodewood. From the root of your project, type Nodewood add feature, and let's assume that this is a contact management program, so we're going to create a contacts feature. Now, this will template these files directly into your application. It provides you a controller, tests for that controller, page, some dialogues, migration, and we're going to want to run that migration with Nodewood migrate. It's a simple migration just with like a contact name in it by default, or like whatever you're creating, just the name for that. But we're going to want to run that migration now so we can demo that and how it works in the actual application. The next thing we need to do is edit the application configuration file. Now, I've gone in here ahead of time and added this already, so I'm just going to uncomment this. But what we're doing here is we're adding the new feature that we created to the application feature. There's already the Nodewood features enabled here. We're just adding that new one in. And the last thing we want to do is edit the user interface configuration file. This predictably controls the user interface for your application, and we're going to edit the application sidebar section. Again, I've done this ahead of time, so I'm just uncommenting this, but we're adding a new entry in the application sidebar for that new page that we created. Save that, and then we run Nodewood dev to launch the Nodewood development tool. Now, I'm just going to take a quick review here of the homepage and the default layout. This is what you get once you install a new project, and this is the application sidebar that you start with, Home, About, Components. Now, this is the Nodewood development system. It's a collection of Docker containers, the Postgres database backend. Way up top, there's an Nginx container that catches your web requests and forwards them to your API, which is an Express application. And the UI container is a Vue and Webpack application. Now that that's all built, we'll come back here and reload. And you can see in the sidebar, the new contacts section has been added. We'll click on that. We can see that there's no contacts by default, but we can create a new one, call it Joe Blow. That gets created, gets added to the list. Now, let's say we wanted to fix that spelling mistake, Joe Blow. There we go. And then let's say that Joe never wants to be contacted again. And delete. And this all comes for free. It's a basis that you can build off of. Not everything's going to want to have a table, etc. But it gives you an example code that you can use to build out your feature from there. This is just one of the many ways that Nodewood can save you weeks or even months of time building your next app.